Happy spring. Finally some warm weather and some blooms to look at. It's been such a cold and wet spring here in the Chicagoland area. I wanted to show you some of the bulbs that I've planted in the past. Last year I planted 1,400 bulbs, and the year before I planted 1,000, and so we have a mix of some older and some newer ones. I got them all from Colorblends.com. I highly recommend that website. They have amazing quality and prices for buying bulbs. I usually buy 100 of one variety because then it stands out more in the landscape. So this variety is called Big Eartha. Such a bright pink, so vibrant. And then in the front of that are actually some pansies and violas that came back after the winter. I planted them in the fall, left them in the ground, knowing that they might overwinter, might not, and here they are looking great. So I'll end up taking those out when I plant my summer annuals. This area I devote as an annual bed. And I planted this Big Eartha variety to match this one in the front of the house that's called Gentle Giants that I planted 3 years ago. So this is the third spring that these have bloomed, and they're a little bit more developed, older than the other ones in terms of how long they've been blooming, so they're open a bit more, but they're a big cup for the bulb. Right here are 20 hyacinths that are called Gypsy Queen. They're an apricot color, such a pretty pinky apricot color. And then over here in this corner, they're not blooming yet, but it's a species tulip, a wild tulip called Muscari Lilac Wonder. There's one bloom here, very small relative to a typical tulip, but these species tulips will naturalize and come back. A lot of people plant tulips as annuals because they're less reliable at coming back than daffodils. Daffodils are pretty much guaranteed to come back, but not so much with tulips. This variety is called Much Niceness. It's purple, yellow, white. I planted these in the fall in containers and put them in the garage because they would freeze outside. And they're nice in these containers in the spring. One I'm using here as a centerpiece in a spring container, the middle one. And the one on the right, I just popped the other pot inside of that pot. From a distance, it makes these containers look really nice. Okay, now we're gonna go to the side here. There's some white daffodils in the front that aren't quite blooming yet. A lot of buds. These are called Acropolis. This is a double. And then I have to show you the hellebores. They are not a bulb, but they are a beautiful perennial. I just love that maroon, that saturated color. It's called Anna's Red, these two varieties here. In the back of that, the green foliage is called Summer Snowflake. That is a bulb that will bloom, kind of a lily of the valley type white bloom. Pretty. Looking forward to that in the weeks to come. Coming around the corner, 2 more hellebores. Molly's White is this variety right here too. And then I think this one is called Rio. Such an interesting pattern. I have a few, I think 25 along the edge here, daffodils that aren't blooming yet that are called thalia. The rhododendron that's going out of bloom. And then the east-facing garden bed is full of daffodils. I'll show you the new one. This one new one is called Delnashaw that I planted last fall. Such a beautiful peachy double. And then another new one is this variety called Casada, which has these yellow corona, but a split corona, meaning that cup is opened up. And it was a brighter yellow, and then it ages to this lighter color. And the older varieties, one is this really bright one that I don't love, and I've tried to pull out some of the bulbs. It's called Kedron. I tend to go for more pale colors. And then in the back, two falls ago, I planted this one in the back called Merrill's Favorite, which is right there. More of a traditional looking daffodil, but a big cup. I like the combination of the different blooms. But I mean, look at this Delnashaw. This might be the prettiest daffodil I've ever seen. Just can't get over how ruffly and peach. Just looks so pretty. Okay, going into the backyard, there's a grouping of daffodils that are on their second season, and they're fully done. You can't even see really any of the petals anymore. But this is a beautiful big cup daffodil called Ice Follies when it looks pretty. Here is a tulip called Daydream, and it's so interesting. When the blooms first open up, they're a yellow, and they age to orange. So you can see here, that one is just a newer variety, not newer, newer bloom. And then they age to this orange. So I mean, these are all the same type of tulip, but different ages of the petals. Circling this variety is a double that I'll show you on the other side is yet to bloom. It's called Averon. It's a pink. There's a couple blooms over here. I didn't expect this one to come back because double tulips are less reliable at perennializing. Sure is pretty. It's even pretty with that green on the outside, the outer petals. Here is a daffodil called Frosty Snow. The cup has a circle of yellow, and then it ages and that yellow goes away and it's just that pretty snow white color. And then in the front, I have planted muscari latifolium. I like the variety of colors there because the bottom of the bloom is a deeper purple and the top is a brighter purple. It just looks kind of magical. And then with the purple in the front and the white in the back, I like that contrast. The yellow shrub is a forsythia. And then if you go this way, you can see alongside the edge of the fence, pretty colors. Going over here, this tulip is called Akibono. Pretty yellow double with red edges on the margin. Look at that one, even a brighter, thicker bit of red. Very striking. I think there's 25 of these. So you can see the difference between 25 here and then 100 in the, most of the plantings have 100 of one variety. Going this way along the back is a daffodil called Pink Charm. That cup is a pinky peach, very pretty. There are 25 of those. In the front, this is a tulip blend called Trident. 3 different colors. We've got the purple with the pointed petals and the clear white and the pink. It's a nice variety. Just started blooming. So backing up, you can see the combination there of the daffodils in the back and the tulips in the front. Going over this way is a grouping of 25 Angelique tulips, which I guess this is known as the most beautiful tulip in the world. I don't know who said that, but they do look pretty. They should open up this pink color. The white is also that Acropolis daffodil that we saw in the front. Just a smattering here. There's a lot of perennials in this area, so these are planted between perennials. And this is a funny story. So the year before last, I planted 100 of these, and it's the yellow reddish is a variety called Beauty of Spring, and I just really did not think it was a beauty. To me, the red and the yellow is just like ketchup and mustardy. I don't know, I didn't like it. So I tried ripping it out, but the soil wasn't being very forgiving with me, and they weren't coming out very well, so I just ripped out as much as I could and then planted another variety that I liked better. So now they're all mixed together in this riot of color. The variety that I like is called Tom Pouce. Pink with yellow on the bottom. It's named after a Danish dessert that is pink and yellow in color. Tom Pouce. So striking. I mean, and so vibrant. Look at this. Just even looking into it, it just doesn't even look real. Going this way, we have a variety of daffodil called Au Pairs. 2 different types of double. One more creamy and one more orangey. Very pretty. And long lasting too. These have been blooming for a while and they still look pretty fresh. The last tulip is called Best White, and it's in its second year of bloom. About half came back. Originally 100 down to 50. Clear white petals. And if you look at the inside of them, they just look so striking. In the warm sun, these white petals open up fully. It doesn't even look like a tulip then. Looks like this along this edge. And then one last bulb variety. Got some winter sowing jugs there. Some success, some failure. These 2 tulips are a late blooming variety, so we've got leaves, but no bloom spikes yet. The last bulb we do have blooming is this snakeshead. Got that checkered kind of snakeskin pattern. So interesting. Kind of a wild looking foliage. But these actually do well in shadier locations, and this is the north side of my house, so it doesn't get a ton of sun. There's some strange white blooms in there too. They're not known to be white, but those wanted to be white. And then the snake's head are just along the outside rim of this bed, and there's more over here with some purple heuchera. So the combination there looks fairly striking. And then one last view of the yard and the spring bulbs in bloom. Thank you for watching.